All right, today we got possibly the most asked question, or at least comment in real estate. Man, I got all this equity. Is it a smart time to sell? Lissette, what do you think?
My first question is always, what are your intentions? What are your thoughts? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What stage in life are you in? If you still have young kids and you have a good sized home and you need use of all of that home, it's going to be challenging to get into the same size property for the price that you paid or even close to anywhere you would make a profit. So if you're in the stage of life where downsizing is an option, let's sit down and talk. It's definitely an option and a great time to sell. If you're not considered downsizing or leaving the area, moving to another area where prices could be a little bit less than what they are right now, then maybe selling is not the right option for you.
Spot on. Guys, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're at, and you've got comments, questions, anything, put them in the comments, and we'll read them live here. Not a problem at all. My response was going to be exactly that. It's so different for everybody, and everybody's got such a unique situation, right? It's not like there's 14 situations, and for these 8 it makes sense, and for these 6 it doesn't. It's so unique. So, you know what? I'll give you a couple. If you've got neighbors that you cannot stand, I'm guessing the numbers matter a little bit less than in other situations. So you might be willing to do that, right? It might make sense. If you've got PMI, right, private mortgage insurance, that may be costing you $200, $300, $400 a month. That sucks. It just does. And depending upon the type of loan you got into and how much you put down originally, you might not be able to get out of that, or at least not for a long period of time. Taking that equity, getting into another home, even if it's a sideways move, it's not an up move, it's a sideways move, but getting rid of that PMI, man, wouldn't that feel awesome, right? There's a slew of reasons that you would want to do it or not do it. I think the big thing really, like you said, Lissette, is having a realtor and or lender who can sit down with you and confidently and quickly kind of expand on the numbers and let you know, here's the financial situation you're in. We're not here to solve emotional issues. If you got neighbors that suck, that's a you issue. We can talk through it. We can help you with the house and everything, but you've got to decide, can I put up with my neighbors or not? But if you're talking about finances, we're here as realtors, we're here as lenders to help you sit down and crunch the numbers. So there are situations where it would make financial sense, right? Forget about the emotions and stuff like that. It would make financial sense to move. There are other situations where it wouldn't. But the big thing that we're seeing is everybody's seeing, man, if you bought a year or more ago, you've got a big old chunk of equity. By the way, what's equity, right? For some people, let's say you bought a home for $400,000. Now it's worth $450,000 and you've paid it down to $390,000. That $450,000 minus the $390,000, that $60,000 difference, that's your equity. That's the big reason a lot of people love home ownership over renting is if I rent from Lissette for 10 years, I'm paying down Lissette's mortgage, right? So Lisette's got all kinds of equity after 10 years. What do I have? I got nothing. I don't own a house. I don't have any equity. I don't have any cash coming. I don't have anything. You can be in a horrendous market. I put a post up the other day about buying at the worst time in history, right? September of 2006, buying at the peak of the market before it plummeted. And if you stayed in for 10 years, you would still have a monstrous amount of equity. And that's in the worst time ever. Imagine if you were not in the worst time ever, right? So I don't care what the market's like. It always makes sense to own. The question is, does it make sense to get rid of that equity? And really it comes down to personal preference and personal situation. Lissette, what else you got on this topic?
No, I couldn't agree anymore. Just really sitting down and writing down what your objectives are. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And putting that all into perspective. It's a great market right now to sell, but it might be a great market for everyone to sell. So just really sit down and weigh your options.
Yeah. And I'll tell you guys, I'm meeting with a gal this afternoon. She said, Joe, I don't know if I'm going to sell. Maybe I'll sell, maybe I won't. But can you come and run the numbers for me? Tell me what my home is worth. Tell me what I'm going to get at closing, and tell me what that would look like if I were to purchase another property. What would my monthly be? What would my down payment be? What would my equity position be? She said, I just don't understand the numbers. Perfect. Honestly, I think that's the best question you can ask in that situation. I wish more people were asking it. But just drawing that out, it's going to take me 10, 15 minutes to sit down with her and do that. And no matter what she decides to do, she's going to do it confidently and with education behind her. So that's a big thing for me. Any big nuggets, Lissette? I love my nuggets, man. If I need something to improve on, let's hear it.
No, well, you know what, Joe? I think you said it. I couldn't agree more with just working on the numbers. You know, it's so important to know where you stand and what your options are, even if they're not the best options for you, but at least you understand where you are financially and where you stand within today's market. And that's really the best place to start.
Guys, again, if you've got any questions or comments, this was a short video for us, which I love. I'm always trying to be short, but I talk too much. Feel free to put them in the comments. We'll always get back to you. If you want to meet with us so we can go over what your home is worth, what your equity position will be, and what it looks like moving forward, we'd love to do it. We are not pushy at all. We want to make sure you're educated. We could care less if we sell you anything. We just want to make sure that you are educated and confident. So reach out anytime. Guys, have a phenomenal Monday. Have a great week.